Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is the first time you're watching, welcome. Today I'll be doing a short video on how to make a bloomer shorts. If this is something that you are interested in, stay tuned. Before I get into the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment below saying I subscribed. I will make sure to reply to your comments. This is a tutorial on how to make bloomer shorts. Some of the materials needed are tailor's chalk. We also need scissors, section pins, tape measure, and of course you'll need the fabric to go along with that. So the first thing that we're going to do is to fold the fabric in half, and this is to ensure that you don't have to cut two times. So fold the fabric in half, place it on a flat surface, smooth the fabric so that there are no lines or bumps that can affect you when you are cutting. First measurement we're going to make is that you're going to measure the length of the bloomers that you need. So measure along the length and make sure to leave in to add 2 inches as seam allowance. So if you're making these bloomers for a child or an adult, you measure their length, the length in which they want it, and add 2 inches to that. After which you're going to need to mark it. My chalk is white so you won't see the color that well. The next measurement we're going for is the person's hip. So the hip measurement, and you always add 2 inches as seam allowance, but for this one we're going to add 3 inches because it's a bloomers and we don't want it to be close to the hips. We want it to have a little bit of room, so not too big, not too small. Next we're going to, if you're working with a big piece of fabric, you're just going to cut the excess. My fabric is huge, so I'm just cutting off the excess. So I'm cutting along the width, and I'm going to cut the excess from along the length as well. Next, you're going to measure around the leg area of the person. For example, if the leg area is 8 centimeters, you're going to measure in 4 centimeters. So the person I'm making this for, their leg area is 8 centimeters, so I'm measuring in 4 centimeters and place a mark. Now we're going to measure the depth of the crotch area, because that's what we're measuring out now. Now the depth of this crotch area that I'm using will be 10 inches. And you know, if you're doing it for an adult, it's going to be longer than that. So you're going to measure as to where you would want yours to stop. So that's the crotch area that we're measuring now. So you're basically going to draw a curved line. So the line is going to look as if you are drawing it for a sleeve. So straight down and then curve. Down, and then you're going to put a curve where you stop. Where I stop the 10 inches, that's where I'm going to put the curve. As you can see. Now this is supposed to be on both sides, but instead of drawing on both sides, I'm going to fold the fabric backwards, and then we're going to just cut it once. Make sure both sides are even. the sides. If you had the top folded, you're just going to cut in between, because the two materials should be separate. And this is how it should look after cutting. Now you're going to stitch along the curve that we cut out. So both curves, you're going to stitch along them. And you can stitch and also serge. So after stitching, you can just serge along that edge, so you won't have to go back to it. This is the finished product after we have sewed and serged the ends. This section will be the waist. So for the waist, I'm just going to fold and secure with pins so that I can hem. But if you prefer, you can press it and then hem it. This section down here that I'm trimming now, that will be the foot section. So that's where the feet will go through. And again, you can choose to fold that section and press it, or you could choose to fold and hem when you get there. I'm going to use the fold and hem method for the waist. So this is the first method on how you can do the waist, and it's based on your preference. Make sure you leave a small hole for elastic to pass through. So for the foot section, you can do one of two things. So you can do the fold and hem method and then feed through the elastic when you are finished hemming, or you can do the press method. So press about half of an inch, so fold and press about half of an inch around, and then you're just going to follow the steps that I do at the machine. Okay, we are now at the machine, so you're going to position the elastic on the material on the end of the fold that you did. Remember, we had already folded it half of an inch, so just position both under the presser foot. Mine gives me a little trouble sometimes, so I use a section pin to straighten the elastic and drop the presser foot. You want to ensure that when you're doing this, you will stretch the elastic. Don't stretch the fabric, stretch the elastic. So while you're sewing, you have to stretch the elastic. And this is to ensure that when you are finished, the whole thing will be stretchable. If you don't stretch the elastic, it will not be stretchable. It will just be as big as it was before. So you want to bring it in to give it that gathered look. Repeat the same step for the other side. You're going to take one of the edges that the elastic is on, and you're going to fold it once more. Now to begin, this might be a little challenging, but once the presser foot is down, it will be easier. And you have to remember that we're hemming now, so you have to hem to the edge and make sure not to hem in the elastic. So hem the edge, and right here, meanwhile you're hemming, you have to stretch. So you're going to stretch the elastic, because remember, if you don't stretch it, it's going to be tight, so it won't get the gathered look that is desired. So stretch and hem for both sides. material around to expose the pattern of the bloomer. You can already see the pattern. So at this point you're just going to join the crotch area. So join it, sew it, and also serge. If you don't have a serge machine, you can always use a zigzag stitch at the end. After you're finished serging, you're just going to feed the elastic through the waist, through the hole that we had left earlier, and then it's going to give it a gathered look. Now the other way that you can do it is to use the same process that you used on the foot section, use it on the waist section. So it's basically the look that you want and it's basically how you want to do it. So either way will be acceptable for both the waist and the foot section. So if you want to use the same process